morning. Hi, I'm Tammy Reynolds, and my position, I'm with Marshall, sorry, and I'm an academic program manager and in the College of Liberal Arts here at Marshall. I've been at Marshall for a little over 25 years, all in student services. My position within the NACADA is the chair of the Mentoring and Mentee Committee, and I also serve on the Global Awards Committee, but I was voted into this mentor mentee committee, and it's the first year that we've done this.
Jason, do you mind introducing yourself, please?
Sure, I'm Jason Noland. I'm the Academic Success Coordinator for the College of Business and Aviation at Fairmont State. I am the Inclusive Excellence Chair for Region 3, and I also serve as a new advisor mentor for Region 3.
What about Samm Jusino?
Good morning. My name is Samm Jusino. I'm the Director of Undergrad Advising in the Eberly College at WVU, and I also serve as Region 3 Chair of Professional Development and also as a mentor on the Mentor-Mentee Committee.
And last but not least, Joy Carr.
Hi, I'm Joy Carr. I'm the Director of University Advising at West Virginia University. I've been at WVU for about 18 years, which is crazy to think about. And I'm starting my fourth year in this particular role. And I'm the state liaison for West Virginia in Region 3, and that actually expires after the spring of 2026. Region 3 actually contains Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. So while I liaise for West Virginia, Samm, Jason, and Tammy are actually steering the whole region.
So we're going to start with a few pre-built questions for our panelists. And if you have questions for them after our pre-built questions, go ahead and drop them in the Q&A and we'll have an opportunity to get those answered. So our first question for the panelists is, what is the work of this role that you do? Can you go into a little bit more detail in that? And whoever would like to start.
So my role is coordinating the mentors and the mentees together. So there's an application process for each, and then we match the applications with each other. I wasn't involved in that. That started before this was this position, the election went on. So our current Region 3 chair, Doris, Dr. How do you say her last name? Doris.
Munoz.
Yeah, she did the application process and made the matches for me. And then we have meetings a couple of times a semester, and I send out a newsletter that will have like prompts, because being a mentor, sometimes you think you know what you're doing, but then maybe you just need a little prompt on like goals and questions. And then the newsletter also has suggested reading materials. It could be books, it could be articles and podcasts and things like that that I do as my role. And for aspirations, I think just continuing to have the program grow, to have enough, there's a motto in the mentoring world, no mentee left behind. So to have enough mentors to match with the mentees and just see this program continue to grow.
As the Inclusive Excellence Chair, these roles in each of the regions are supposed to work together to help ensure that there is programming at the national, the regional conferences, and also the virtual webinars for each region that speak to helping to support our minority students and our students that might have special needs. In 2025, it looks a little different at this point. We've currently been trying to figure out what we can and cannot do within the confines of federal mandates. So we haven't done as much at this point other than trying to work through all that.
For professional development, the role is new this year as well. And our goal is to offer 3 to 4 trainings through NACADA webinar style platforms. We're also transitioning leadership in Region 3. So I'm just waiting until Caleb, who is our new chair for Region 3, comes on board to see how he would like to approach that. But offering professional development for our advisors in ways of trainings and talks around topics that we face every day is my goal in this role for the next 2 years.
So the liaison is the state's advocate in connection to what's going on with regional and national NACADA. It's just a 2-year role, but basically I'm supposed to let the regional leadership know about issues that are happening within the state, advocate for us, and generally make some connections. I think a really good example of this fact is that we have more representation from West Virginia schools now in NACADA than we ever have before, and that is mostly through relationship building and sharing information. We're also known within NACADA as a state for being highly collaborative and creative. This conference is used as an example to other state liaisons who are trying to figure out how to better connect each other. And, I mean, as Appalachians, we've kind of always had to be highly collaborative and creative. We don't get a lot of resources. My aspirational dream is actually coming true this year. I had always hoped in this role that we could direct more people in the state toward the regional awards because we are really, really underrepresented as a state in those categories. And as you will see later on in this conference, we have some amazing advisors doing some really amazing work. And so this year we're actually doing it. We're helping some of those advisors in the state go after those regional awards. And I really do believe we'll see some winners as well. So I'm very excited about that.
Thank you all. You all are doing excellent work. How has your NACADA involvement impacted your own work at your institution?
Took a minute to get the mute off. Sorry. I was like, where'd it go? So for me, I think so. Marshall has a mentoring mentee program, and it's been, I think, 3 years we've had it. So for me doing this work at the region level, it's actually helped me develop the program at Marshall a little bit more. I wasn't doing in the newsletter here for the Marshall Mentor Mentee program. We weren't really having prompts or suggested reading materials. They're just suggested, but to way to grow as a mentor. And when you grow as a mentor, you're also going to help your mentee. So for me, that's how it's kind of grown. I thought going into this role that the foundation that I had at Marshall would really help, and it has. But what in turn I'm seeing what I'm doing at the region level is going back to what I'm carrying here at Marshall.
Sorry, I forgot it was my turn. So individually, certainly my own work, it's been nice to build my network to bounce ideas off about my own day-to-day operations. At Fairmont State, our network of professional advisors, we certainly have a strong connection with each other, and we help each other throughout the process, certainly. But we are going through a time at Fairmont State that we are undertaking an initiative to redevelop what advising looks like on campus and to professionalize our roles and make it more, I don't want to say streamlined, but more consistent across campus. So it's been nice to talk to people from different areas of the country to see how they're doing things and see some things we might be able to bring into our own practices.
Part of my current role at WVU is providing professional training for advisors within the Eberly College. And as a part of that and my daily day-to-day, I started doing research on professional development and how to grow advisors. And that led to some research on difficult conversations within advising. And then I went to NACADA to present that work and found this role. So it seemed like it was a seamless transition to combine both my research interests, my current job functions, with impacting the greater good of advising within the state of West Virginia and the region. So that's how I'm using my current NACADA position in line with my current work role.
I think for me, being in meetings with people outside of the state has really enabled me to see trends, like a bigger picture of what's happening with advising across the country. And it's helped me better understand what's happening within our own schools and offer advice if folks are going through things that may have already happened in South Carolina, for example, or are looking for creative solutions to dealing with things like advising turnover, which is a nationwide trend. So making those relationships with people who are outside of our state has really helped me situate the problems that we might be having and realize that they're not necessarily unique to our region per se. They are things that others experience, and you get so many more solutions for trying to come at the same problem. So I would really encourage people to participate in whatever way because it really does just broadens your scope.
And on that note, our next question is going to be, if you haven't already answered what drew you to this work, please share about that. But then how did you first start getting involved in NACADA so that others can learn how to start getting involved if they would like to?
I already told what drew me to the work, so I'll answer the last part of the question. I started getting involved in NACADA small. I was on a steering committee, one of the learning, the advising communities, and then I volunteered for the Global Awards Committee. And because I didn't actually know what all of it all would entail, like how much away from my work was going to take me and what was going to be expected of me to give to these um, different tasks and for me it's been not very much additional work. I get more fulfilled knowing that I'm doing a bigger picture for the region. So I would suggest if anybody who is thinking about getting involved, then you're concerned, start small. And then when there's those seats that come open, then you might be ready. You have made connections and be ready to move into a more regional role, that somebody would vote you into.
So what drew me to the inclusive excellence in particular was being a minority myself. I understand how important it is to have representation, and also that we as primary role advisors are often the safe space for these students. And the conversations around how to best support these students often happen it may be unintentionally or informally. So helping to come together nationally or regionally to pull out people that have specific experiences and um, uh, knowledge bases that may be helpful to the greater whole and help them to share their messages and their strategies more broadly. I first started getting involved in NACADA. I was first aware of NACADA about 9 years ago when I started as a faculty member and a faculty advisor before transitioning to a primary role advisor. And I got involved in this particular position at the fall conference last year because there was a midterm opening they were trying to fill, and I was the only one that stepped up. And then we went through the formal election process in the spring, which is an easy process. You just submit why you're interested and your bio and all that, and go through the election. And happy to have been reelected.
I got into NACADA kind of haphazardly, not as seamless as everybody else. I had some desire from grad school to go back to a conference, so I was working on a presentation. And then when I got to NACADA is when I got really inspired. And from there, going to Pittsburgh last year, I ran for this position. I started reviewing conference proposals, scholarship proposals, serving for the mentor-mentee program, and it's all been very fulfilling. The relationships that you're able to build, the time commitment is not massive, but the relationships you're able to build they're career changing and personally driving kind of my career growth at this point. So I highly recommend getting involved in NACADA, even if it's at small through advising communities.
So initially, I was involved through NACADA just because it was our professional org and I enjoyed going to the conferences and learning new things. And I'll be totally honest, the reason that I became the liaison is because the one that we had stepped away. And so a couple of folks from the region approached me and said, please, 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 we need somebody. And so I did. And it, as Tammy said, it actually ended up being less work than I thought it was going to be. Basically, I have a monthly or every other month meeting to talk about our trends. This conference is something we did as a state separately, totally apart from NACADA, right? But when I got there, I really appreciated the power of connection and tried to do a lot to pull people together. And I will say, although Jason ran unopposed, Samm and Tammy did not. We are a small state and it's not a competition and we love everyone, but we beat them. So, right, we won, right? And we did it because we pulled all of our small NACADA membership together to say, hey, for the first time, like we're going after these things because we have wonderful things to contribute. And the membership turned out and voted for them, right? So, like, I firmly believe that shared problem solving is the way to go. And I don't like being told things from the top down. I don't think anyone does. I like coming together and saying, here's how we would like to solve this, and people agreeing to that. And I think that this is just an expanded version of that. what are we facing as a region, and how can we solve it together? And I think even in this conference, you will see people collaborating on presentations from schools. The steering committee is made up of 6 different schools here in the state. And I know when I leave the role in the spring that the connections we've made are just going to keep growing because we've already laid that groundwork. So in my opinion, one of the easiest ways to get started that's always appreciated is to read for awards. When they put out the call to read for regional or national awards, they will give you maybe 5 at once. And the system is pretty intuitive, and it is so inspiring to read what's happening in Wyoming or New York or Texas, and populations of students you may not teach, and the innovative things that people are doing. It's really inspiring to your own work. I know I've walked away from that experience thinking, I'm going to try that, even though that was like not the reason they asked me to read the award. But you get a bonus, I think, to your own work just from being able to see the really cool things that other people are doing. So that's an easy way to get started.
Thank you all so much. We're going to open it up now to everybody attending. If you have questions, please drop them in the Q&A, or if you feel comfortable, please raise your hand to ask our panelist. And while we're waiting for some questions to load, Joy, do you have any timeline on when the next elections are going to come around? I know that they are coming up.
So the national ones were just announced about a week or so ago, and I've been looking furiously for the regional ones. They won't normally show in our region unless there is something open. So right now, for example, the professional development chair or the inclusivity chair, those are filled for the next couple of years. But the liaison role, that should be coming up, I would think, no later than October, maybe early November. If I don't see it, I'm going to start poking someone to make sure that we've got plenty of time to respond to things like that. And that's something else that I think a liaison can do, is just encourage people to participate when it does roll out. It's so easy to miss those emails or to think that it's just a news update when it's actually your slate of candidates that you're supposed to vote for. So hopefully in the next, I would say 6 weeks.
So if you aren't already a NACADA member or you're considering it, if you do get registered, then you will have that ability to vote for our next state liaison and state representatives. It is really quite an honor to see all of these wonderful people doing such excellent work in our national professional organization. I don't see any questions quite yet in the Q&A. We have about 4 minutes left. So if we don't see any questions coming through, is there anything additional that you panelists feel you would like to share about your position or your experience or involvement as professional advisors?
Not to put people on the spot who are unprepared, Sarah Davis, but I was wondering if you might tell them a little bit about the leadership thing that you were part of in NACADA, because that is something that I think is really beneficial to people's careers as well.
Yes, I can do that. So there is another section of NACADA that comes out every year or every other year, and it's called Emerging Leaders. And whenever you see that come out, you should definitely check it out. You can go and read about it on the website anytime. And you do not have to be a leader by label. You don't have to be an administrator or someone leading a team. You just have to be someone who's interested in leading and advising. And often our leaders and advisings aren't the people with an administrative title. So it's not leader by your title, just if you're interested in advising leadership at all. It has been a very rewarding program. It's a 2-year commitment. You do have to go to the national conference the first year. You don't have to go the second year. So you do want to make sure that you have some support funding wise to fulfill that commitment. But other than that, everything is free. And you meet once a month. You get, like other folks were saying, that really the connections across the US and Canada are what is the most beneficial. You get to know things about inside NACADA that you wouldn't typically know. It's been a really cool program though. And if you have any interest in it and you want to talk to me about what my experience has been like, I've been more than happy to have a phone call or a chat with you about anything like that. But yes, apply. And when you apply, put that you're from Appalachia and you want to increase Appalachian representation, because they are very supportive of that. And that's what I did. So you should do that.
And if you're not originally from Appalachia, put that you're in an Appalachian region. You work for a school in Appalachia. We do very well on scholarships. And one thing I do remember from our last region meeting is that almost no one applied for a Region 3 scholarship to conference last time around. So by all means, please apply. Usually when you win a scholarship to go, that also encourages your departmental administration to kick in the rest. So yeah, just consider applying for scholarship. The Region 3 and Region 7 will be merged again for conference, but that where that conference is has not been released yet or what date. It's usually March or April, but that hasn't been released yet. We're hoping for that to be released very soon as well.
And I'll just toss in there too, when you're applying for scholarships, reach out to your advising community, have them review it, have them go through it. There's a lot of us who have submitted things before to NACADA or worked with NACADA, and we are happy to help you with that process.